At it again, and we got to talk about the rally that Trump had in Madison Square Garden, the absolute packed Madison Square Garden in Blue, New York, where a Republican came and packed the stadium. We got to talk about that because obviously the media has to try to spin it in a negative light because they know it looks really, really terrible for Kamala. It's a really, really terrible sign that a Republican can go to deep blue New York and pack an entire stadium by himself. No Beyonce, rumors to perform, right? Like Kamala did. If you guys didn't hear about that story, I didn't cover it, but Kamala allegedly, kind of like sent out this rumor, and mainstream media was spreading it as well, that not only was Beyonce showing up to the rally, but she was probably going to perform. And obviously, to get into the rally, it was completely free. So people thought, hey, free Beyonce concert. So people showed up in mass to Kamala's rally. And then when Beyonce didn't perform and she only spoke for like 3 minutes and left the stage, people themselves left. And there's videos online of that entire situation. Trump didn't need to do that. He packed the entire stadium without having to lie about what's happening, okay? But there was a joke that was made at the rally, and mainstream media is absolutely losing their minds over it because they have nothing else. A comedian made a joke, of course, right? And mainstream media is making it sound and seem as if it was Trump that said it. And so we're going to dive into that a little bit today because Vivek obviously was asked about it, and so was JD Vance. And then I got a little bit of an interesting thing that I want to show you guys at the end. So with that being said, let's dive in.
Vivek Ramaswamy. Vivek, thank you for taking some time with us this afternoon. The Trump campaign press secretary, Carolyn Leavitt, on Fox earlier saying the joke doesn't reflect the views of President Trump or our campaign, specifically talking about the Puerto Rico joke. But also she said the crowd, they didn't mind. You were there. Did you mind?
Look, the fact of the matter is I wasn't in the room when that joke was made, but I got to say, we got to take a step back and look at the double standards here, Brianna. Let's be really honest. George Lopez made a joke at Kamala Harris's rally over the weekend about all Mexicans being thieves. Are we attributing that comment to Kamala Harris or querying all of her proxies who are at that rally? No, we're not. So I think we need to all get off our high horses and acknowledge that a bad joke was told. It was bad because it wasn't very funny. The audience didn't find it funny. The guys told other funny jokes in other places. This wasn't one of them. But the media manufacturing of outrage out of this is really just a double standard when you look at the exact kind of jokes being told at the Kamala Harris rally over the weekend. And the fact is, if George Lopez had said that at the Donald Trump rally, if I may finish.
You've seen a comedy show before?
If I may finish, just to finish making the point, if the George Lopez joke had been told at the Donald Trump rally, you and I both know we'd be talking about that. But because it was at a Kamala Harris rally, we're not saying a word about it. And I think that that's just hypocritical.
I think that if your comedian were Mexican American, it might be different. I mean, you're familiar with, I'm assuming you've been to a comedy show. You're familiar with these things. If someone is of South Asian descent or they're Mexican American and they tell a joke about the group from which they come from, things can land a little differently. And we heard these jokes. There is a group, certainly, that the comedian belongs to, and he didn't really joke about them that much. So I think that's something to note as well.
The funny and most remarkable part about this is the audience didn't love the joke. They actually booed, and it says a lot about the audience's response to a bad joke. On the other hand, this is a comedian who roasted Tom Brady famously as well, so everybody knew he was a comedian.
So you heard that there, and I love how, Vivek responded to that, but I also want to show you guys what JD Vance had to say because, of course, they got to try to get JD Vance in a gotcha moment, and it didn't work.
Last night during the pre-program, a comedian made several racist jokes that the campaign has since distanced itself from. Another speaker called Kamala Harris the Antichrist. Another called her the devil. You've talked before about former President Trump being able to unite the country. I'm curious, as we are entering this last stretch of campaigning, this final week, is that the right tone to have started this final 8 days with?
Well, first of all, I think that we've got to focus, Alec, I appreciate the question, but I think that we as a country, and I think that includes the press, it includes the Kamala Harris campaign, and it certainly includes our campaign, The way that we unite the country is to talk about the issues the American people care the most about. And what we're doing over the next 8 days is we're focused, laser focused, on how we're going to close the border, how we're going to make American lives more affordable again, how we're going to bring down the cost of housing. That's what we should be talking. I think a lot of Americans are sick of the distractions and sick of the BS. They want our candidates to talk about how they're going to solve the people's problems. And that's what we ought to do. Now, I've heard about the joke. I haven't actually seen the joke that you mentioned, but I think that it's telling that Kamala Harris's closing message is essentially that all of Donald Trump's voters are Nazis and you should get really pissed off about a comedian telling a joke. That is not the message of a winning campaign. And most importantly, it's not the message of a person who's fit to be the president of the United States of America. And my own view on this is, look, again, I haven't seen the joke. Maybe it's a stupid racist joke, as you said. Maybe it's not. I haven't seen it. I'm not going to comment on the specifics of the joke. But I think that we have to stop getting so offended at every little thing in the United States of America. I'm so over it. I mean, somebody sent me a couple days ago, and they were kind of pissed off about it. Maybe it was yesterday, of this comedian George Lopez, who had made a joke at a Kamala Harris rally. And he basically, the point was, he was trying to make a joke. It was against Mexicans, and I forget the exact context. But if you wanted to look at it a particular way, you could say that was a racist joke. And this person, in fact, was encouraging me to sort of, blow this up and make this about how Kamala Harris doesn't respect Latinos. And my response was, can we all just take a chill pill and take a joke from time to time? This is ridiculous. Our country was built by frontiersmen who conquered the wilderness. We're not going to restore the greatness of American civilization if we get offended at every little thing. Let's have a sense of humor, and let's have a little fun, and let's go win in 8 days. God bless you all. Thank you.
I agree 1,000%. We are way too soft. Way too soft. People get offended about everything. Everything. Make comedy great again. Please. And I'm the kind of person, I like dark humor. I don't know if any of you guys are into dark humor, but if you aren't, go look at some dark humor. It's pretty wild. But I think the reason why is because comedy has gotten so soft, right? And I don't know. I know it's a joke. It's a joke. Why are you offended by the joke? Literally, sometimes when me and my friends get together, that's all we do for probably 15, 20 minutes is just make jokes about each other. Just make jokes. Just going at each other. Joke after joke after, and sometimes it can get a little cruel. It can get a little wild. But at the end of the day, we know it's jokes and we know it's all love. So nobody's offended. Nobody's feelings are hurt. We're all laughing, having a good time, Maybe we need to make that a national pastime, just making jokes about everybody. Goodness gracious, sheesh. But let's talk to some Puerto Ricans. Let's see what some Puerto Ricans had to say about the jokes.
So basically you're saying that because I'm voting for Trump, I'm a bad person for some reason? I'll tell you why I'm a Puerto Rican voting for Trump. Because guess what? When the economy is trash in the United States, it's even trashier in Puerto Rico. When food prices are high here, they're even higher over there because everything has to be imported. When gas prices are high here, guess what? The flights to go to Puerto Rico are through the roof because guess what? Planes need a lot of gas. So they're gonna raise the prices of los pasajes. I'm voting for Trump because guess what? He was the only president that has had the balls to call the Puerto Rico government corrupt. He sent $22 billion to rebuild the infrastructure and the power grid and for schools and everything after Hurricane Maria. And then he told the government, hey, you guys gotta show me receipts. And the Puerto Rico governor said, we ain't gonna do that. And Trump said, well, guess what? We're not sending you any more money. And people took that as, oh my God, Trump doesn't want to send any aid to Puerto Rico without doing the research. Because everything that you have been told about Trump is a lie.
Facts. Everything we've been told about Trump is an absolute lie. That was one Puerto Rican, and here's another.
I don't know about y'all last night, but that Madison Square Garden rally was epic. It was good. I enjoyed it. Now, am I offended about what they said about Puerto Ricans? Hell no, I ain't offended. You know, he was saying some certain things because Puerto Rico needs a lot of help to get cleaned up and get the environment right. So it is what it is. People make jokes all the time. We don't say shit to Dave Chappelle for saying shit about black people. We don't say shit to George Lopez talking about Mexican steel supplies.
Come on now. That's facts. That is absolute facts. And I also want to show you guys this because I forgot that I saved it. But I want to pull it up really quickly because there's actually a bit of truth in what he had said about Puerto Rico. And I had no clue that this was even going on. So really, he kind of shed some light on a situation that needed to be talked about. So check out this clip.
Comedy is usually at least a kernel of truth. If there wasn't some truth buried inside the joke, it wouldn't be funny. And the thing that makes comedy such a uniquely human experience is that we can relate to it because it's true. That's also the reason why authoritarians hate comedy so much and have to shut it down, because it highlights their failures and vulnerabilities and it allows us to make fun of them. And they hate that. So why is the left losing their ever-loving minds over the comedy skit that Tony Hinchcliffe delivered at Trump's Madison Square Garden rally last night? Well, it's because it's true. And now they don't know what to do with themselves because they walked right into the trap. You see, Tony Hinchcliffe has the #1 live comedy show on YouTube. He's loved by Gen Z and millennials. He also happens to be one of the funniest people on the planet right now. His brand of comedy goes after anybody and everybody, and he is not afraid to offend you. That's what makes it funny. But because J-Lo and AOC and Tim Walz and so many people came out and threw a fit last night, the problem they now have is that people are researching this and they're starting to realize that, holy crap, he was right. You don't believe me? This was the #1 topic when I pulled up Google today to try to understand what the trending was looking like. Take a look at people searching for Puerto Rico trash over the last 24 hours. Look at that. It's gone viral. And what are they finding? They're finding articles like this one, and like this one, and like this one. They're finding articles of the fact that it was so bad that the Biden EPA had to step in and close down landfills because people were getting sick. And then they're coming across this type of stuff where they're finding out that Puerto Rico has a major corruption problem. It's so bad that they actually arrested the governor of the territory for bribery. It's everywhere. And now this is what the American people are seeing because the left freaked out about a joke. And next, they're coming across this. Wait until you see how much money the Biden administration has poured into Puerto Rico just over the last 4 years to try to solve a problem in an area that suffers from major corruption. Because of COVID, they got $1,400 per person. They dumped another $4 billion in for fiscal recovery funds, $3 billion in to help save the schools. They got $12 billion to help rebuild, and yet it still suffers from a trash problem. I mean, even entrepreneurs got $5.2 billion. Yeah, they walked into a trap on this one. The problem is because nobody on the left understands how to read Donald Trump. They do this to themselves every time because they thought they had a gotcha moment. In fact, now people are realizing just how bad things really are in Puerto Rico when Democrats have been in control for the last 4 years and have dumped billions and billions of dollars into trying to save the place. Nothing's changed.
You know, one thing that I've learned is that you can't just continue to just dump money onto a problem and expect it to just magically be fixed. But that's what Democrats continually try to do. Dump money, dump money, dump money, and dump more money. And if it doesn't work still, dump some more money. But if you have a corruption problem, which is what I'm reading about is happening in Puerto Rico, that money means absolutely nothing. Check out this video clip from Puerto Rico because, like I said, that joke actually shed light on something that is quite important. I think this is a major issue. You know, it seems like these people are really, really suffering, and I had no clue until, you know, the joke was made, and of course the left like absolutely lost their minds, and, you know, I started doing my research on it and came across this.
It's messy, and it's more than just trash. Puerto Rico is drowning in garbage. Overflowing landfills are a daily sight, and it's not just an eyesore, it's a health hazard. The current administration poured billions of dollars into fixing this crisis. But where did that money go? Not into solving the problem, that's for sure. Instead, funds were misused, pocketed, and vanished into thin air. Corruption runs deep, leading to multiple arrests. Local officials who were supposed to manage relief funds were caught red-handed. Imagine the impact on ordinary citizens. Communities are left to deal with the toxic fallout. Their health, environment, and quality of life are all at risk. The sad truth is, until corruption is rooted out, no amount of money will fix Puerto Rico's trash crisis. It's time for accountability and real change. So what can we do? Stay informed, raise your voice, demand transparency from those in power.
Absolutely. But once again, had that joke not been told, we would have no idea about this problem. But now we do. But as was stated earlier, that's one of the great things about comedy. They have an ounce of truth in them, whether you like it or not, you know. And now we know about this problem. So I'm sure Trump will address it, which he already has attempted to in the past. And as you heard, when they didn't want to show receipts, he was like, hey, well, you know, I'm cutting the money off. You know, I'll provide you guys some funds, but I need receipts so I know where this money is going. You guys are not just going to get all of this money without any type of oversight. It's not happening. If you want to do that, fine, but you're not getting any more money from us. Absolutely not. And I agree with that. I agree with that 1,000%. 1,000%. Because obviously just dumping money onto a problem where there's corruption clearly doesn't fix the issue. So, yeah, man, not surprised that they absolutely lost their minds, because that's all they could do. When you have a Republican having a rally, packing a rally with over 20,000 people, plus you had the overflow outside of, you know, there were reports there's more than 10,000 people outside of the stadium, outside of the arena that could not get in because it was packed. This is New York. New York. Trump is a Republican. And he packed the stadium. But not only that, there was 10,000 plus people outside that wanted to get in. Man. I can't wait until Tuesday, baby. I tell you that. It's right around the corner. It is right around the corner. Let's get this W. Let's take it home, and let's fix this country and truly fix Puerto Rico, because from that video, it clearly needs to be fixed for sure. But as always, thanks for tuning in. Peace and love. I'm out.